Good evening, everyone. My name is Deepak Iyengar. Today we have the privilege of hearing to someone who has advised many top leaders, top companies, boards, company boards, and leaders across the sectors. Mr. Srinath Sridharan. Thank you, Mr. Srinath, for being here.
Thank you, Deepak.
As financial planners and wealth professionals, we often face complexities in wealth transition and engaging with the next generation clients, especially the Gen Zs. So today's session, today's conversation will be about. It will offer sharp insights on how we can guide better for the when the client is going through this transition, right? So, Mr. Srinath, I will start with the first part, which is the family transitions, a topic every financial planner encounters. Okay, so my first question would be, from your experience, what's the biggest challenge in family wealth transition that wealth advisors should be aware of?
I think the first one is trust.
Okay.
Because wealth advisors, or unlike any other advisor, typically have dealt with the patriarch or the matriarch, the senior-most generation. And a lot of them forget to take along the younger generations, the second and the third generation along. So the youngsters may not actually say anything against them in front of the parents or the grandparents, but they definitely have a view and a mind and an opinion of their own. And I think that is where I think the financial planners have to take the subsequent generations along, even before the family goes through transition. Because you might be sitting with let's say the 65-year-old client of yours in handling their money, but how you treat their 30-year-old child or 35-year-old child, or probably even the teenage grandchildren, about talking about money and wealth, because the youngsters are curious about crypto. So as a financial planner, you might be talking about having a large estate, or having a fixed deposit, or a mutual fund, or a term cover, all of that and more. But can you also equally engage the mid-30s people about fractional ownership of real estate through REITs? Can you speak to the youngster about crypto? You have to engage with all of them. Two, I think the nature of communication is also changing. The youngsters want it in bite sizes, almost, so to speak, the Insta Reels and stuff like that. So don't give them long 30-minute PowerPoint presentation about what is crypto. They know most of it. Can you tell them very contextually why not, very crisply? And don't say as if you're going to stop them from doing it. Because they feel that everybody else is anyway against them. So you'll have to take their side and give them a long-term view, saying that today at 15 or 16, if you do this, what could this become when you're 25 or 30? What are the reputational risks, and what are the overall risk parameters? So I think it's a state of evolution of building that trust from ground zero, so to speak, with every single successive generation. And do not wait till you know that ultimately the succession is going to happen within the family and somebody is going to take the decision. I think that's the biggest mistake most of the advisors make. They ignore the rest.
Makes sense. Thank you so much. Thanks. So my next question is, what's one mistake you have observed families make during succession planning?
So I think the biggest mistake, Deepak, ironically, is not during, is not even doing succession planning.
Okay.
Most of them assume, so my book, Family and Danda, I've written that. One of the largest challenges for families globally, and more so in Indian businesses, is the assumption that we are all immortal, that we are going to live forever. And we all think that we can always fix this later. And we always assume that I've written the legal will, I've divided the estate, I've done tax planning. By the way, none of those are succession planning. Succession planning is, in effect, whatever is your mainstream of activity, of business activities, whether it's a single company, multiple companies, conglomerate, what is the business continuity for each of those? while you will continue to enjoy the financial outcomes and success out of that is separate. And that is what you will do estate planning and tax planning and financial planning on, but not about the business. But if your business doesn't survive, your lot of business families, their social identity is actually tied to the businesses they are in. And which is why I generally joke that most of the Indian promoters don't even have a hobby apart from their work. And which is why it makes it far more difficult because their identity is intertwined with work, that they're not able to retire at 65, 70. So the challenge, the toughest part when succession planning is to recognize I need one, and can I do it proactively when I'm physically fit, mentally able. You might still take under 10 years to retire, but can you start putting the contours of succession planning?
Okay.
And that is very, very important. And of course, amidst all of that, there will be various contours, whether your children have to succeed you, or are they professionals, individual leaders who are professionals, non-family members who will lead your companies. And there are enough examples of both across Indian businesses.
Got it. So taking initiative early.
Taking initiative at all, let alone early.
Early, okay.
And I think that's the biggest challenge.
Makes sense. Great. So my next question is, in your book, you referred, family and Danda. What's one practical insight that would benefit financial planners working with business professionals?
So I think, trust is a very thin line. As I said, you have to nurture it, you have to work on it. And there is nothing called like a body temperature. You can't use a thermometer and say, I have 98.4% trust. Trust is binary.
Correct.
It's either 0 or it's 100%.
It's not there, yeah.
So if you don't know something, accept it. And I think as intergenerational shifts happen between generations, every single gray shade of answer like that, if you don't say, I don't know, but if you try and second guess the other person, they will think that you're being artificial and you're not being truthful with them.
Right.
So which means to me, financial planners, because you've enjoyed a degree of trust with one generation, to continue that entire relationship, you need to be completely honest in what you know and what you don't know. So I always feel that what we don't know is a good starting point to introspect.
Right.
Before we tell the client, this is what you have, this is what you don't have.
Yeah.
And I think that's something most of us don't do.
Absolutely. Makes sense. Great. So now let's move to the emerging phase of wealth, the Gen Z investors. How is Gen Z's approach to wealth and investments different from earlier generations?
So I think every generation, if you look at, I'm now giving a global context, not just Indian context. India historically, if you look at many centuries, have been wealthy. We've had various kingdoms, then became princely states, then became a nation. And then we also have the hierarchy of wealth in India. And if at all anything, the last 15 years, we have seen democratization of wealth, so to speak, that anybody can aspire to be a startup founder. I mean, we're sitting in Bangalore and having this conversation, and anybody with no legacy, no godfather or godbrothers who made it possible for them.
True.
The previous generation thought education was an excellent way to become wealthy. So you had the rise of IITs, IIMs and CEOs plus. But today I think some of the startup founders have proven that education and actual success in business have no correlation at all. So wealth generation is actually taking a different shape. Gen Z, I think today even predominantly the large amount of wealth does not belong to Gen Z in India. I mean, there are one or two large unicorn founders who fit into that.
Okay.
But otherwise, Gen Z per se, they might have inherited the wealth, but they have not generated that wealth.
Okay.
But yes, one main aspect of Gen Z is very simple. The previous generation, my generation, we were what I think we were the Gen X. We saved because we saw one generation, we didn't have anything. India did not have much of it. Everything was rationed, so to speak. So you saved. And then you suddenly saw liberalization at the beginning of your career. And you realized, hey, this is a different world I'm not prepared for because you are not trained for it. So a lot of us had to unlearn a lot of things that we were not prepared for. We survived, scaled, grew, but we still conserved for almost everything.
Right.
The next generation, the Gen Z today, is what I call as me economy, ME.
Okay.
They live for memories and experiences. They're not shy of saying, you know what, I'm exhausted, I've had a 45-day project and now I want to go and take a 5-day spa vacation and I'm going to spend 1.5 lakh rupees on it. They don't mind saying it.
Right.
Whereas we would have rationalized saying, it's okay,
Yeah, we would never do that.
I'll just take 2 days off, I will sleep it out, I would rather put this money in some other vacation. So I think there's a big, if you look at the destination weddings that are happening for the youngsters, the younger millennials onwards, they're all about experiences. You look at the top 10 cities in India, the amount of restaurants and fine dine and everything's about experience. Correct? Otherwise, socially, if you look at it, which part of India, apart from the North Indian community, did we have a mehendi and a sangeet and a cocktail ceremony? Now, it won't be amiss sitting in Bangalore or Chennai to see all of that, and probably Bisibelabath served in those food as well. So we all become a potpourri of cultures, all in the name of experience. That I want to experience and I'm ready to pay for it. So I think it's a different sign. And if I were to correlate to even, let's say, the financial markets here, the rise of BNPL, buy now, pay later, is also a sign of that I want instant gratification.
Right.
I want to spend on this now. I don't have the money. Today. I can convert it to 6 EMI, 12 EMI. Somebody is willing to pay for this. So it's changing. Again, it's not a social judgment, but this is a shifts that we are seeing. But for financial planner community, there's a sign. What is it going to mean for your future clients thinking about savings?
Right.
What if they turn around, because you're going to compete with their experiences and memories?
True.
How are you going to fight that? And I think that's a longer conversation which will test you. It won't be about finance, it won't be about data. It will be about saying, you know what, I had a great time doing parasailing. How can you say no to that?
Yeah. So true. Yes. So coming to that, so we are talking about experience. We also, what's a common myth or misunderstanding about Gen Z investors that financial advisors must overcome?
So one, I think people generally think Gen Zs are very shallow as personalities. I think it's the biggest myth. It's doing them a lot of disservice. There might be one of Gen Zs that you would have seen in your family and friend circle who might seem shallow, but it's about, I think, the nature of their communication style and emotive style. They don't need to, if we compare our own parents and grandparents, our communication style is far different, our attires are far different, and Gen Z consider it very, very differently. Otherwise, you would not have seen Gen Z get into retail equity folios the last 5 years. Of course, COVID was a big trigger because a lot of them had savings, they were working from home or moved back to parents' house, and it was all going into retail folios, or it was even going into some of the crypto folios that we saw. So they're open to some of advice, but how it is administered, their attention spans are shorter, but it is not meeker or weaker by any stretch of imagination. So I would think that if you take time to understand what they think, why they think, and how you can engage them, you will be successful. Like, for example, a couple of weeks ago, I wrote a opinion column saying what I love about Gen Z communication. Texting. I don't have to deal with mood swings of people I'm speaking to. I don't want to speak about rambling. It is almost like you're being served chai over a telephone call. You're wasting first 8 minutes on a call. Because that's how our generation grew up. Gen Z is very cutthroat, saying, come to the topic. If I'm interested, I will respond. Otherwise, you will get a K back or you will get an X back. That's all. I think it's a great thing. So I think my generation should learn more of communication brevity from Gen Z.
That's wonderful to know. So now I would like to have a quick rapid fire. Short answers only. In one word, what's the most crucial value that connects different generations in a business family?
Fear.
Okay. Family wealth conversations today, more awkward or more essential?
Both, but seemingly it's more awkward now in India Inc.
Okay, right. So, one leadership quality next generation family business members must develop.
Empathy.
Wow, okay. So, next one is Gen Z investing style, YOLO or FOMO?
Both.
Okay. So, family money talks, no cap or ghosted?
No cap or?
Ghosted.
No cap.
No cap, okay. So, thank you. One last question. Can you give one key message to financial planners and wealth advisors helping family manage wealth transition better?
Sure, I think financial planners work with data. Excel sheets, PowerPoint, Word, whatever. You're very adept with reading through the fine print across brochures and product information. It's great. Data is great. You need data. I think you must also start understanding sociology and psychology. That there is a huge generational demographic shift that's happening. 2/3 of India is less than 35 years of age, which means sooner or later your bulk of your clientele are going to be less than 35 years of age. And they speak a different lingo, language. They are not going to have patience for your 6-page brochures. They're going to have probably 6 Insta reels of 30 seconds each. Can you give it to them on Monday to Saturday? And you have to time it right. Wow. Which means can you deliver it to them at 7 to 8 in the evening? And that's it. They will get the message. So the way you engage with them is important. And it doesn't mean they're frivolous or silly or artificial. And how do you communicate with them and establishing that boundaries? And I think we think that our hierarchies are going away, social hierarchies. It is not going away. It is getting realigned.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Sridharan.
Thank you, Deepak.
All your time and responses. So this was very helpful. Thank
Wonderful.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.